Game 7.
I've had the Warriors all along, Skip. I'm going to stay with them as long as the big four. Now, I know Andre Iguodala is injured, Skip. There's a great chance he's not going to play.
Great
but
chance.
As long as KD,
Yep.
Steph, Clay, and Draymond's there, they'll be just fine. They just have so much firepower, Skip. They can just come at you with a barrage.
Yep.
Houston was doing so well. They had a 17-point lead at the end of the first quarter. That easily could have been 25-30.
It could have been.
But then all of a sudden in the second
Yep.
quarter, they start getting really loose with the basketball.
Yep.
And then in the third quarter, they get even looser with the basketball. Skip, they say the quickest way for a team, if you play football, is for you to turn the ball over. In baseball, they say you let a team back in the game if you commit errors. Well, in basketball, if you want to let a team get back into a ball game, you start turning the basketball over, especially that Warriors team in their building, and they caught fire. Steph started hitting threes. I mean, Steph was letting the ball go from the timeline, and it was splashing. And then Clay, all of a sudden, boom, boom, boom. Skip, how do you get outscored 64-25? You scored, Skip, you scored 37 points.
It's hard to do.
In the first quarter.
Yep.
You scored 25 points in the second half.
Hard to
You
do.
scored 9 in the fourth, and with like 3 minutes left in the ball game, you only had 4 points in the fourth quarter.
And by the way, your regular season MVP in the fourth quarter scores 0. James Harden, go ahead.
0. No, that's your MVP. That's everybody's MVP. That's everybody's MVP.
Regular season.
And you saw this. How's he looking without Chris Paul? But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I'm talking about the Warriors. The Warriors it's a great luxury to have when the second greatest player, or Skip argue Holly, the first best player in the NBA is the third lead scorer, and you win by 30.
What did I tell you on Friday?
Oh, you let me?
No longer.
Oh, you dropped him off?
Yeah.
Yeah, you dropped him off.
I told you I dropped him off, right? I said he's Kevin Durant. I'll give you that right now.
You want this?
For the time
No,
being.
ain't no
until the
time
next
being.
game is played.
Ain't no time being. Ain't no time being.
Yeah, now
Ain't no time being.
He's got a chance to prove it in the finals now.
Last decade has been unquestioned.
Okay.
But Skip, they just have too much firepower. I just do not believe, unless you're going to get Trevor Reeves. If they play like they did in Game 2, you get 19 points from Ariza, and you get 22, 23 points from Tucker. James Harden, he's going to have to pick up that slack that Chris Paul is not, because I don't believe Chris Paul's going to play. And if he plays, Skip, he'll be 5% of what he is. So he might as well just sit on the bench, because he's not going to be able to shuffle and slide and push off and try to run around picks, fight through picks, and try to guard Steph Curry or Klay Thompson. That's not going to happen. So I'm under the assumption. I know what D'Antoni said. He's a game time decision. But that game has been decided in Game 5 when he went down with that hamstring injury. But when they're playing like this, Skip, it's just that barrage. It just comes, and it comes in waves, because they can go a lead that they have that's 4 points.
Yep.
You look up, and 90 seconds later, it's 18 points, because that's how quick they can get off those threes. I just don't see, unless Houston got a trick up their bag, and like I said, Ariza gives you 19, Tucker gives you 20, like he did in Game 2, and then Harden is really going to have to be James Harden, Skip. He can't have 25 in the first half and then 5 or 6 in the second half. If he goes for 25 in the first, he's going to need to be around somewhere around 40, 45 in the second. He's going to have, if he's the MVP, Skip, he does have Game 7 in his building. He's going to have to show you why they voted for him in the regular season.
That is correct. He has yet another great opportunity to save his playoff legacy, which continues to slip into the darkness again, because playoff James, as we know, becomes way off James. He just does right on schedule. And yet, I agree with everything you just said. I believe Golden State will win tonight, because I want Golden State to win tonight, because just me, I want to see LeBron, Golden State. What are we up to? 4?
4.
That's what I want to see. I can't get enough of it. I think it's great theater. I don't really want to see the Rockets and the Cavaliers, but I will tell you this. You should be rooting for the Rockets. I think LeBron would have a better chance against the Rockets than he would against Golden State. But the thing that concerns me about Golden State winning, and I bring this up on this show occasionally, is when I hear everybody out there say Golden State, and they're big favorites. They're, 5.5-point favorites now? Sometimes it goes the other way. You know, when the world says this, that happens. And everywhere I turn on the TV, no matter what I'm watching, everybody's picking Golden State. Everybody's writing Golden State. And that Golden State team I saw the other night, and I know a guy who's plugged in there, an insider who's been there for a long time. told me the other day that we're a joyless bunch right now. Like they just been there and done it so much that they're kind of running out of gas a little bit, like psychologically, emotionally. They're not having fun anymore. Kevin Durant's not having fun. He's hit the wall, man. I don't know if he's got distractions off the court. I don't know if he's got too many business interests. I don't know what's happened, but that guy, even on Saturday night, as I told you on Friday, that wasn't that guy who was the finals MVP.
No.
I don't know, maybe he got what he wanted or needed last year. He got a finals MVP and a ring. Is he good to go? Is that enough? I don't know, but he doesn't look right to me.
That big run that they had, Skip, to start the fourth,
Yeah.
Kevin Durant was on the bench.
He was.
They went with the old guard.
I'm with you. And by the way, in the first half, Steph Curry looked like playoff Steph, who I never quite trust. Steph in the first half was 1 for 7 from three. And as you point out, guess who saved him? It was the fourth wheel, the guy who's always sacrificing for the other three, for
Yep.
Draymond and Steph and KD. It's that guy Clay. And some nights he's like, "You guys got this? I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm good. I'll just play defense tonight." They needed somebody to start making shots. And did he make shots? Listen, when he needs to be, he's every bit the shooter Steph Curry
Yeah.
is. Seriously.
He can get hotter than Steph because his catch and shoot, Skip, is second to none.
What did I read? This is like a fourth level stat, but that he set the record for how fast he was making threes. He made 7 within 1 second of catching the ball. You know, like it's
Yeah,
just
it's up. How do you
gone. How do you stop that?
Exactly. You don't, Skip. And what makes him and we're going to talk about this. He's so valuable because he always guards the opposing team's best player.
Yep.
So if it's a point guard, if it's a two guard, and a lot of times if it's a wing, a small three, he has that responsibility.
Well, in
And
the second half, he had James Harden.
Thank you.
And Steve Kerr made a strong point. Klay Thompson is in superior shape to have to run that hard on defense, play that hard against that guy who's just dribbling your brains out,
Yep.
right? And hanging with him and fighting with him and keeping him from the rim and then going down and making big shots. Well, LeBron will tell you how hard it is,
Because
right?
a lot of times what you try to do, you try to keep your best offensive player off the opposing team's best offensive player.
Yep.
Because you don't want him to burn up all of his energy.
Nope.
If you look at the old days, Skip, Bird didn't play the team's best power forward.
No.
You need him on offense. You can't
do.
have him expending all that energy.
He would roam on defense
Yes.
and disrupt on defense.
Hey,
Yes,
good
he
hand.
would.
And that's but Clay is going head up. Because you remember last year, Skip, in the finals, who he had? His responsibility was Kyrie.
Yep. Hey,
It's James Harden. So he's true Holiday. That's what he has. That's what he's up against.
yeah, and I've seen him against my Spurs when their spark plug was Patty Mills. They'll put him on little 5'11" Patty. He'll just take him completely out of the game. Put him on Tony Parker. Just shuts him down.
Yep.
He's like suffocates him. He can go bigger or littler.
Yes.
Whatever.
Yes.
He is extremely valuable to this team. Yet I still believe that, look, will Chris Paul try to play? I bet he tries to play. Now, to your
Yes.
point, how long will he last? But I keep hanging on to this. Once upon a time, I had to watch him against my San Antonio Spurs in Game 7 at Staples, pull the hamstring. That's what they announced. Go to the locker room for a long while, come back, and late in the game, come back into the game, and maybe he was dragging it a little bit, but you know and I know, it's hard to drag. Once it's gone, it's just gone.
Yeah, and no pushing.
But he pushed off it enough that he made a shot up over Tim Duncan that won the game and advanced them to the next round against Golden State, right?
But Skip, if you look at this, the Rockets had 21 turnovers, 13 assists. The Warriors had 26 assists to 12 turnovers. They let them get back in the ball game by turning. I've never seen a team get so careless. And you talk about LeBron, but they got like 4 or 5 guys that get real loose with the ball.
Yeah.
They have the ball, and then all of a sudden they throw it to a guy that he has to jump, and he doesn't establish position coming out of the backcourt, turnover. They throw the ball, and it's a steal. I'm like, dude, they just get really, really careless with the ball. And the one thing you can't do when you play the Warriors, they force you, Skip. You really got to be on your best behavior for basically 48 minutes.
You do?
Because in the blink of an eye, they got guys that can let the 3-ball go, and they're never out of a ball game. That's why it's so difficult for you to beat them, because there's no lead that they can't overcome because they got those 3 marksmen. A lot of teams, you say, man, if we got 2, you got 2 players, you're like, okay, we good. But they got 3. 3 of the top 10 shooters that's ever played in the NBA. 2 of them are MVPs in their prime. Klay Thompson is a #1 or number 2 scoring option on a lot of other teams.
Probably number 1. I would agree.
On a lot of teams, he's number 1. But
Yep.
at worst case, Skip, he's
Yep.
number 2.
I agree. So I think this is going to be lower scoring. I think there's going to be nerves involved. I think throats are going to get tighter and tighter, both home team and visiting team on this one, because the Warriors are just clinging to whatever was left of them. But I think they're going to pull it out. I'm going to go low scoring 97-95 Warriors. And I'm not sure how they're going to do it, but I think they will.
Game 7 is, so you got something else?
Skip, can James Harden, like, cut down on the threes and just go? Skip, he can get to the basket. He's getting to the basket or he's getting fouled. But I don't know why he loves that step back, dribble between the legs, to the right, to the left, kick, and shoot the three.
He's been doing it all year. And when he makes that shot, he is unguardable.
Yeah, but
when he doesn't, he's guardable.
He went over 20, and now he just happened. So now he's 4 of 32.
No. Yep.
Game 7 tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern in Houston. As we move on to our next topic here.